In the good book of Tofulations, it states, if a single vegan wanteth to be single no more, then thyself they must put out unto the world. No fellow vegan shall knock on thine door and proclaim thy love if they knoweth not that you are vegan, single, and looking. I think what our vegan forefathers were trying to say is, if you want to date a fellow vegan, you have to put yourself out there in some capacity. Either you have to let other vegans know that you're vegan, single, and looking, or you have to go find those vegans. And today, that's exactly what I'm going to teach you, because although I'm single at the moment, I am very good at finding vegans to date. I've dated almost exclusively vegan women, and I'm going to show you how you can do that too, whether you're looking for men, women, whatever you want. Everything that I am saying today is applicable to pretty much everyone in almost every circumstance. So I think that this video will help out everyone. And the first part of this video is how to find these vegans online, and the second part, I know it sounds impossible, but I guarantee you it's not, how to find vegans to date in real life, especially near you. And I even have a tip for the introverts or people who are just a little bit more shy, reserved, and just have a harder time starting conversations. So let's start with possibly the most obvious answer, which is the traditional dating apps like Hinge, Tinder, stuff like that. With a lot of dating apps, they have filters that you can select so that if you have the paid version, you can see only vegans, or if you select that you're vegan and somebody else has a paid version, you're going to show up to them because you selected that you're vegan. Or if there's something like Hinge where there is no preference for diet, whenever there's a prompt, you can just write that you're vegan. And I've actually found from anecdotal experience that if you do write that you're vegan, you get less total matches because a lot of people just don't want to date vegans. But then when you do write that you're vegan, you're more likely to get the matches that you want. And I've actually found that I'm more likely to have vegans comment on my profile saying that they're vegan. I mean, why would they say that if I wasn't vegan? You know, so it's just, do you want to get more matches or do you want to get less matches, but more of like the kind of matches that you want? And speaking of dating apps, there are actually vegan dating apps. There's two that I can recommend. I'm sure that there's more, but I have not ever found any of them to be good. So I have actually met up with a woman from Vegly and from VegPal, so I know that they actually work. Vegly is definitely going to be, I think, the better one just because there's more people on it. It's just a more populated app. Like if you live in a place like London or New York City, LA, something like that, you're definitely going to have like a lot of people on the app. VegPal, less people, but it does show you people from all over the world. So if you're okay with long distance, I mean, either app, like if you're okay with long distance, I think that app could be good for you. I, for example, am okay with long distance if there's a light at the end of the tunnel where the person can move to me, because unfortunately, I can't move anywhere. I'm stuck in Syracuse, New York. But if you're able to move, or if you want to try to find someone who can move, or maybe you have a very nomadic job, or maybe you have a job like a nurse where they're very in demand almost everywhere, then I think that a long distance relationship, as long as, like I said, if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, then you're probably going to be fine. If not, it's probably just going to lead to a lot of heartache down the road. There are also vegan websites and forums for singles. I haven't really explored them, but I'm sure if you just Google vegan singles, they're gonna pop right up. So definitely check those out as well. And there's also vegan singles Facebook pages. So I'm a member of, I think, just vegan singles, vegan quest singles. There's like 12,000 members in each of those. Those are a lot of people from all over the world. I think it's still mostly the US and maybe like the UK. I mean, it's an English speaking one, so that makes sense. There's definitely some other ones. I'm a part of like a Spanish speaking one, partially just because I want to practice my Spanish, and you're better off learning with things that you're actually interested in. I have also met friends from those Facebook pages. One person who I think I just made a post and I said that I was also just like trying to learn Spanish, and she was like, oh, I live in Mexico and I'm trying to learn English. So now we're just platonic friends, but like we are just like, we help each other out with each other's languages. So that's really cool. So you can have like cool connections that maybe it doesn't lead to a relationship. I mean, hopefully it does. I also met up with someone, I didn't even try to meet them. It was just at Vegandale. We just happened to be talking, and then he like showed me something on his Instagram. I was like, wait, I recognize that profile. And then we were like, oh my God, we're both in the app. It was just like really, it was really serendipitous. I would also definitely recommend looking up like some more specific vegan Facebook pages for you. Like if you want to find vegan dating for like people that are like 50 plus, or I have one in Syracuse. I'm like Syracuse Vegan Singles. If you can find one in your city, you don't need to have nearly as many people. Like I went on a date with a woman and there was less less than 100 people in that group. And if one doesn't exist in your city right now, you can always make one. And the way that I found out about the vegan singles page for Syracuse, New York was on just the Syracuse Vegans page. They posted about it. So say you want to make your own page, then you can post about it on whatever your city is. Another option is starting some sort of vegan social media page, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want to do, just posting on there. Also, if you want to find somebody especially nearby, if you post about things that are local to your area, like the top 10 vegan restaurants in your area, or maybe you just post about a veg fest or vegan deli that you just went to, because after a lot of those events, people will look on social media to see what other people's experiences were, see if they missed out on anything, and definitely use some local hashtags, or if you can post something that maybe gets reposted by a local restaurant and maybe a vegan sees it, maybe they slide into your DMs, who knows. That's actually how I met my ex, was I made videos on YouTube and then she slid into my Instagram DMs. We hit it off, obviously, and dated for a couple years before going our separate ways. And then the next woman that I talked to, I actually slid into her DMs on Instagram. And I don't have like the biggest following, so you definitely don't need like a huge following. And like I said, if you do local things, then the people who are going to be looking for like Syracuse, New York vegans are probably going to be people who live in Syracuse. Like people in Pittsburgh don't really care about what's going on in Syracuse. And say you decide to collab with a fellow vegan influencer, maybe you guys hit it off. So there's just a ton of different things that could happen if you're posting stuff. Which also reminds me, if you are part of the vegan singles Facebook pages, definitely be active in there. Don't just join and hope that Prince Charming is just gonna message you. You have to, I think, be posting about yourself and then also commenting on other people's stuff, just keeping an eye out for things. And then in real life, how do you meet vegans in real life? So being a part of those vegan Facebook pages, I think, is really helpful. Not even just the dating ones, just like the ones for your city. Then you can find out about different events going on. I recently went to something called a vegan cookie share, which is exactly what it sounds like. You show up with cookies, everyone else shows up with cookies, and then you pretty much just trade cookies. So you show up with one type of cookie and leave with like 20 different types of cookies. But while you're there, it's definitely good to be social. Do your best to not have resting bitch face on, even if you suffer from that. Just pay attention to that. Just try to smile and like be friendly. And even if you have a hard time going up and talking to people, the thing that I have found to be the most helpful is wearing a funny vegan shirt, something where it's like funny enough that somebody would want to comment on it. My favorite shirt is actually one that I sell, and it just says "Nobody knows that I'm vegan," because then people want to come up to you and tell you like, "Hey, I know that you're vegan." Or somebody came up to me recently when I was in the gym, and he was just like, "Hey, nobody knows that I'm vegan either." And I was like, "What? Are you really?" So that was actually really cool. I got his number, invited him to the potlucks that I throw all the time. And just like throwing your own events is also like really helpful, because like when I was at the cookie share, I saw a girl who I thought looked cool. She looked like she was dating the girl next to her. So when I try to get someone's number, it's not always to try to date them. But I just want to invite them to the potlucks because like one, I do genuinely want to just expand my vegan social group, just like have more friends, and like invite them to potlucks and stuff like that. But two, if you know one vegan in your area, the chances that they know somebody else who is vegan and single and looking and in your same age range, maybe has similar interests or same character and values that you're looking for, is pretty slim. But if you know 75 other vegans, then the chances are much better. But because I'm pretty extroverted and don't mind going up and talking to random strangers, I've actually met people at restaurants and grocery stores. Probably one of the best examples I have is at a restaurant called Kale My Name in Chicago. I walked in there was a guy sitting at a table and a woman sitting at another table. They were both talking. And then when there was a lull in their conversation, I went up to the guy and I said like, "Hey, have you ever been here before?" And he's like, "No, this is actually just my 5th day being vegan." I was like, "No way." And we just started talking. And then after a while I was like, "Okay, I haven't ordered, like I'm just standing here." I was like, do you mind if I just sit and eat lunch with you? And he's like, "Yeah, of course." And then I remembered the woman who was sitting over there and I was like, "Hey, do you want to eat with us?" And she's like, "Yeah." So then we got a bigger table and we all, like 3 strangers, were all just sitting next to each other. We're just eating and talking about being vegan and stuff like that. But it was just a much better lunch just talking to these 3 people. Like you don't have to become best friends with them, but it's just a better experience than just doom scrolling on Instagram or something for your whole lunch. When I go to the grocery store, I will also talk to people. Like usually if you talk to somebody about what they like or their opinion on something, or even what they don't like, usually that's a really good way to start, because people love talking about themselves. People love talking about their opinions. They love talking about what they like and dislike. So if I see somebody who has like a vegan pizza in their cart, or they're looking at like a vegan burger or something like in the frozen food section, I may ask them like, "Have you ever had that before?" And they'll either say that they have, or there was a guy recently I talked to and he said that he wasn't even vegan. He was just trying to be more vegan. I had actually had that pizza, so I definitely recommended it. I got his number, invited him to some potluck. So like I'm always trying to just invite more vegan. Like I swear every time I have a potluck, I probably invite like 1 or 2 new vegans. And I throw a potluck like once a month, once every 2 months or so. And another thing I would say is definitely put your best foot forward, have a good first impression. Because like I was saying before, one, just talking about what people are interested in. If you go up with a line, you're not really going to be present and in the moment. So I would definitely just talk about whatever's actually physically going on like right there in the moment and asking like what their opinion is on something. As well as making sure that you are showered and clean and you're wearing clothes that fit you properly. Just like, you know, just look your best, smell your best. And I will often go to the grocery store with a vegan shirt on of some kind. And I've actually had other vegans like approach me and like talk to me, or just like people who aren't vegan who just like think that my shirt is cool. So if you want to let other vegans know that nobody knows that you're vegan, definitely check the shelf below this video and you can buy one of those t-shirts. I hope this video helped you out a lot, and I hope that you find your vegan partner this year.